Good morning, Unity. Memorial Day weekend. I want to check in with you a little bit about what you're tuning into. What are you tuning into in your life? You're tuning in here right now. That was a good choice. What about your life? In the quiet stillness where my heart resides, there's a beauty that comes before my eyes. I can see and feel the radiance of my soul, and I know I can be there anytime. This is something that I wrote some time ago when I was on my spiritual path and understanding that there was something inside me that was worth looking into, this quiet stillness in my heart. But it wasn't always that way. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've had a little path to getting to the place of understanding that there was something on the inside and not on the outside to look for. Yes? So we start out a little bit in our lives first tuning in to the heartbeat of the mother because we're in the womb and we connect with what's happening in the womb. And it actually continues all the way through, I believe, until we're 7 years old. We're really just receivers. We're just the receptive material. Whatever is given to us, we take it in as truth. We take it in as the way it is. And we don't question whatever we were given during that time frame. And depending on our lives, we might have the opportunity to have teachers come forward to us to give us a different idea. But it was quite a while before I started to look on the inside, because the outside gave me so much information that was confusing. So I listened and I tuned into what was happening in my family, what was happening around me in the world, and when I came home, my mother would be tuning into As the World Turns. And sometimes we'd be tuning into Dark Shadows or The Twilight Zone, right? So we're tuning into all these different ideas, and I'm just a sponge and taking all this in. I didn't know then what I know now about my own mind and wanting it to be a safe place for me and wanting my heart to be a safe place for me. So in my life, as in many of our lives, we have things that happen to us. We don't know they're happening for us, and then they make us afraid of ourselves. We don't necessarily want to breathe into the life force because we don't know what the feeling is going to do with us based on what's happened in our life. So it takes some time to get there. It takes some time to get there. And in my case, it was very later in life that I was laying on a table with a body worker, and she said to me, you know, if you don't want to live, I'm not going to work on you. And I said, why are you saying that? She said, your breath is so shallow. It's as if you want to just stop breathing. And I realized then that she saw that I was afraid to go into my own life force, to go inside and see what was in there. I was afraid of it. So I breathed in a shallow way and moved through life at a fast pace and got a lot done, but I had no idea what was going on inside. And I remained afraid. And another person who is a Reiki healer, we have many of those here at Unity, are wonderful people, who put her hand on my shoulders as I was sitting in front of her at an event. She said, you know, I'd be so sad if you were not here. How does she know what I'm thinking in my mind at 22? That I think this is too hard. It's too hard to be here. And all those thoughts came from because I was looking on the outside, trying to find an answer, trying to find peace, trying to find something. And for years, for decades, I continued to search on the outside. I searched with accomplishment, and I got more and more promotions, more and more stuff, more and more things. And I thought, okay, this must be it. But yet there was still this place in me that I was afraid to go into. I went fire walking, and I walked across 30 feet of hot coals, and I did things that would teach me about my inner fire and my inner power and those kind of things. And I would believe it for a little while, and then I would say, oh, but when I get home and when I go back to work, can I still walk the fire? Didn't understand that the fire walking wasn't the guru who taught me how to walk the fire. It was what was inside of me. It was inside of me. I was the one who walked the fire. I was the one that made the transformation in my mind that was cool moss and not hot coals. I was the one. And if I was the one, how was I the one? I was the one when I finally recognized that there was something inside of me that had always been there, that was ever-present, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and it was God. And it was me as God all along, just like Dorothy, right? It was in her all along. And when I took the time to study and begin to understand something about the mind itself and what I was feeding it, what I was tuning into, that it mattered, I started to make different choices. I started to tune in to teachers who were talking to me about that inside life, who were talking to me about the heart, who were talking to me about the power, who were talking to me about the fire and the good, and who began to tell me that anything you see me do, like Jesus said, this and greater things you shall do. I found teachers who were not trying to tell me, follow me. They were saying, follow your inside. You are magnificent. You are a light. We need your light. And when I started to have those teachers, I began to wake up to the idea that something inside of me was all I needed. And it's always been there. And it's always there. So I can tune in now to teachers. I can tune in now to the news. I can tune in to other things. But before I tune into anything on the outside, I am fine-tuned on the inside to my heart, to love itself, to God, to the good, to the all-present power of love. And so it is.